During the 1960s, a surge of interest in space exploration swept across the globe, fueled by landmark achievements such as the launch of Sputnik, the Mercury missions, and the race to land a man on the moon. As curiosity about the cosmos grew, so too did the public's desire for venues that could bring the mysteries of space closer to home. Planetariums emerged as both cultural landmarks and educational powerhouses, uniquely positioned to satisfy this collective fascination. Peter Jones was one of those who visited the planetarium from a young age, and who later came to work at the McLaughlin Planetarium at 90 Queen's Park Crescent, which opened in 1968 from a donation by R.S. McLaughlin, the first president of General Motors Canada.
My name is Peter Jones. I worked at the McLaughlin Planetarium in Toronto from the late 1970s through into the 1990s. My job was a planetarium show operator, which meant that myself, along with multiple other people, ran the Star Theatre. So we had multiple projectors around the outside of the theater, plus a giant machine that looked like a dumbbell that came from East Germany that was our main star projector. And we had a control panel that ran it along with multiple computer systems over many different iterations. I first experienced the planetarium when I was very young, about 7 or 8. My parents took me down there, and I was very interested in the technology of how the whole system worked. And I took many of their astronomy courses that the planetarium taught. Kept taking more and more courses and going up and sort of getting to see the inside of the behind the scenes of how the theater worked. Eventually, I tried to find it when I was in my teens in high school. I asked if it was possible to get a job down there. About 8 or 9 months later, I got a call back from the planetarium manager saying that Dr. Clark would like you to come in for training starting, a couple of days from now. So I got hired on. I spent, a week or two being told how to run the whole system and being trained. And then I did my first couple of shows. The Zeiss projector was the main projector in the center of the theater that did the star field on the dome and the planets. So at the time, there was 2 companies in the world that built star projectors, the East Germans, which did the one we had, and the West Germans, which is Zeiss Oberkochen, which did all the planetariums in the United States and England. Of the original 5 large planetariums in Canada, 3 of them had East German Zeiss projectors, which is Toronto, Calgary, and Vancouver. Montreal and Winnipeg had West German star projectors. The original projectors were, the original one from Zeiss in East Germany was developed in 1922, and the one that we had in Toronto was delivered in 1968. It takes about 2 years to build a projector because they're handmade. It had 2 globes on each end, and there was a 1500 watt light bulb in each globe. If we took all the shielding away, it would blind you. It was that bright. And all the star field plates in the projector were hand punched. So as I say, the whole machine weighed about 2.5 tons. It was all motorized and very, very precisely built. It had to be designed in such a way that as the machine rotated, the stars stayed in focus on the dome. When the planetarium opened in 1968, it had an original display gallery in the space below the theater. In the late 1970s, mid-1970s to late 1970s, the Royal Ontario Museum built a large addition onto the south part of the museum, which is now called the Curatorial Center, which is up basically laboratories and workshops and so forth. It's a 12-story building. That was built where part of the gallery was. So in order to accommodate the building of that Astro Center, the north wing of the planetarium was demolished. They moved the machine shops and a recording studio into that space. They left a small waiting area for people going into the theater. So the planetarium lost its display area and just became, the main part of it was the planetarium theater. When a ROM's edition was completed, They built an entirely new display gallery in that space in the 1980s. It didn't make a lot of money, but I think it basically didn't lose any money either. There was about 250,000 people a year, I think, was its average attendance, because we also did the laser light shows in the evenings as well, and school shows for school groups during the day. Between people like ushers, probably the whole staff was about 25 in total, 25 to 30, depending on the time. The laser show was actually run by an exterior company, so there was a laserist that belonged to the laser company. He worked with us and we worked with them. Every 6 or 8 months we get a new laser light show as well that we also had to learn. So the Planetarium went along with the laser show, that we did some of the background effects and so forth for the laser shows as well. So we had to learn all the cues in that one. It was a strobe light here and some other thing at this point in a laser show as well.
More than just a technological marvel, the Planetarium became the definitive and best way to educate and entertain the public about space and the cosmos in a pre-internet era. Through expertly curated shows, engaging lectures, and interactive displays, these institutions fostered scientific literacy, ignited imaginations, and encouraged a sense of wonder that resonated with the spirit of discovery characterizing the time. For many, a visit to the Planetarium was not only educational, but also a profound experience, one that bridged the gap between the earthbound and the infinite universe beyond.